God bless you. God bless you. You're tuning into the I Won't Miss Live Radio with yours truly, none other than Cherie Yacob-El. And we give God's name praise. Well, today I got a special program for you. I'm going to be interviewing none other than the actor, the director, the choreographer, the brother, Keith Henley. Amen. And he's going to be talking to us about a show, a play actually, that he's directing in, Only God Knows by Cherie. Stay tuned. Tell somebody to tune in. Tune in to what? The I Won't Miss Live Radio. Well, good afternoon, everybody. You're tuning into the I Won't Miss Live Radio, and I have a special guest, again, none other than my friend, my brother, the actor, the entertainer, the director, none other than Keith Henley. And so,
praise
Keith, there you go. Come on, Keith, say hi to the people.
Praise the Lord, everybody. How you doing? Praise the Lord, Z. It's a pleasure being here with you today, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to share the gift that the good Lord has given me, and it's just an honor and a privilege.
I tell you, I'm so excited. You know, when the Lord said, when you had texted me about the play, and I remember you telling me about it maybe about a month ago, I said to myself, I said, oh, man, I got to do an interview because, you know, you got so many talents and you're doing so many big things. And, you know, why don't you just share with the people how you started getting into the plays and theater and things of that nature?
Well, it actually started when I was actually really young. I guess it really started when Dad used to always tell us that he came to me one day. He says, "You know what? You are a very strange kid. You would always wake up not yelling and crying, but you would always sing at the top of your lungs. And I mean, like, you were just the strangest kid. That's all you would do." And I'll go like, wow, okay. And then as I got older, I realized that I was really into following old plays, and I would watch all the old movies, the black and whites, and I was really into some really, I just love movies and theater, and I always would follow the Oscars and so forth and so on. I was like, man, this is some good stuff. When I was in the fourth grade, I wrote my first short story. And as I got older, I really got into the theater scene, and I was really just taking in something I've always wanted to do. I always dreamt that one day I would be on stage and I would receive an Oscar. You know, everybody has those kind of dreams, but that dream was something that I always wanted to do. And then as I got much older, I went to college, and when I came home from college, I had an opportunity to write my first play, and it was called The Boutique, and it was written for our Sunday school kids, the teenagers, and it was a huge hit. And then from that moment on, I started writing other plays, and then I wrote my first gospel musical, and it was called The Song. And it was just wonderful. I mean, God has really blessed me. And then from that point on, I started a production company called Joy Productions, which stands for Jesus Over You, and it's still going strong. And I just love what I do. It's just a wonderful gift that God has given me, and I've given it right back to Him. So now I'm just dealing with telling biblical stories from a theatrical point of view to make people understand just how important and how simple God's word is, and how it really affects your life.
Wow, Keith, that's awesome. Let me ask you something. What was the name of that first story that you wrote in the 4th grade?
Oh my God. It was, you know what? I never actually, I started it. It was it wasn't a horror film. The name of it was called, How I Got Over. It was How I Got Over. Very strange twist. I was just playing with words, and I was really coming from a kid's point of view as to how to deal with poverty and how to handle things that young children go through back in those days. So this is How I Got Over. I'll never forget that.
Oh wow, that sounds really good. I missed that one, big brother. So I know that the first play that I went to with you, where I seen you act in, was over there in Camden, but it had something to do with being incarcerated on death row. What was the name of that play?
The name of the play was called Exonerated. It's called Exonerated. Yeah, it was a very heavy piece. That
was an awesome performance. I was so proud. I said, "Look at Keith." And then I got to go and see you on Off-Broadway with Whispers.
Right. The name of it was called This Is Why I Whisper. That's correct. Yeah, This Is Why I Whisper. And that was a play dealing with a family who was actually dealing with being one of the son and the brother was dealing with schizophrenia. True story, and that was a very, very compelling piece. Very compelling piece of work.
Now, didn't you do something in Carnegie Hall at one time?
No, I wasn't at Carnegie Hall. I wasn't at Carnegie Hall, but I was at the Opera House. I was at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I tell you, and I know that I remember going to your first film. Now, what was the name of that?
Biblical Stories. It was called The Biblical Stories, and I did the piece that I did was I played a drug dealer. It was a modernized version of certain biblical stories, and I was a drug dealer in the piece entitled Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Now, I had the privilege, which was, to me, was fascinating to be on the stage with you with the church when you brought the old choir members together, and then you had a little skit. Keith does a lot of, my brother does a lot of plays and skits with children as well. Keith, talk about that for a little bit.
Well, I love children. I love being around children. I've always loved being around children. And at the theater ministry at the First Nazarene Baptist Church, I am responsible for for the children. And we do whatever the theme is, whatever the situation is. I always write something for the children. We'll do something for Black History Month. We do something for Easter and also for Christmas. Now, this year we did a piece entitled The Lena Horne Show, and it was a modernized version of Lena Horne, who had her own talk show, who had some of the great writers and voices from the Harlem Renaissance. Just yesterday, we did two biblical pieces, David and Daniel, King Darius's Dilemma, and there were two stories based on, the children were reporting on what took place when David slayed Goliath, and then the other one with Daniel was when Daniel was in the lion's den. How did King Darius handle that situation? And it's a very interesting story. If you really read the story of Daniel put in the lion's den, it was Darius who really had problems with Daniel being in the lion's den, and so our story was based around that. And that's basically what I do. I've been doing that for, almost 15, 20, close to 15 years. I've been working with the children and coming up with different shows for them.
That's a blessing, man. I seen how organized it was and how everything came together, and that was the first time I seen you behind the scenes, how you were dealing with the kids and their costumes, and the first part, the second part, the third part, the closing. And I said, Keith, this really, really does this theater and arts. Now, listen, I want you to talk a little bit. We're going to talk about this play that you're directing, but I guess what I'm trying to do is I want to expose some of you may not have never seen any of Keith's work, and then there may be some of you out there that may have a youth ministry, or and you need like a theater night, or you like for them to come and do a play and things like that. So I'm just trying to give you the different talents that I know that Keith has. I know you do dance as well, theater dance as well, right, Keith?
Yes, I do some choreography. I'm mainly heavy on cultural dancing, so I do a lot of dancing, African, Caribbean. I'm really heavy with the cultures. I really believe in telling our story, and through dance as well as through the spoken and written word.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. You guys got to see it. You got to see it. Now, I know you've been going on tour for the last couple years, and talk about that. We talked about it, but talk about that.
Well, presently I am a historic interpreter. And for those of you who don't know what a historic interpreter is, a historic interpreter is a person, they're labeled as a historian, but basically they are responsible for telling the story of those in the past. And my mission has been to make sure that the Black story is told and told correctly. So at the moment, I portray the lives of at least, I'm going on about 15 different personas, ranging from starting in year 1750, going up to the last would be, the more present one would be 1968, which is who was actually Dr. Martin Luther King. I do a story, one of the people that I do is James Fortin, who was a civil rights activist from 1790 up until his death, which is in 1842. He was a multi-millionaire who lived in Philadelphia, who owned his own business, and it was a sail-making business. And he was a very strong voice in Philadelphia during that time. Also, there was a gentleman by the name of Henry Box Brown. Some of you call him Boxcar Brown, but his name is Henry Box Brown, who was a runaway slave who mailed himself in a box, 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. And he leaves from Richmond, Virginia to Philadelphia. He spends 27 hours in the box, and the box is actually delivered to the office of William Steele. And those of you